All right, we got a TV guide here from September of 1986. My channel mostly focuses on 70s and 80s TV guides. Joking aside, in all seriousness, we're documenting a piece of our cultural history here. Every one of these I go through, we see some tidbits, things that we forgot about, things that have kind of been lost. So we're not just indulging in looking through some old printed thing. We're sort of looking back at our cultural past in terms of the TV stars, the shows, etc. Let's get into this one. Perfect Strangers was pretty big. I watched that for a little while and then kind of lost interest, but it was a huge show for a couple years. And it probably ran longer than that, but it was highly popular for a couple years there. The Dodge Shadow in 1986. $7,000, you get a brand new car. We got our smokes, now we're rolling. What can you look for on your favorite shows? Yeah, I've already done the fall preview for 86, but this one is talking about what's going to happen on your favorite shows. So I don't know what makes this different. Maybe they're actually going into some of the storylines and stuff. Who knows? We're not going to read that. And sometimes they have some weird articles here at the beginning. Not sure what to make of those. Look at this 2-page ad for a Chevy Nova. A lot of the cars look like this in the 80s, kind of square. Probably the beginning of the end for stylish cars. Now all our cars look exactly identical. Here's Bronson Pinchot. He's sitting on his floor with no shoes on. He did make it into some movies. He was in was it Beverly Hills Cop? Or he was in a couple movies as well. Not as a star, but he was able to break out of TV, which was very hard to do back then. She hit the jackpot. She's got her player cigarettes. Don Johnson was definitely huge at this time. If you were my age, you had the white jacket. You were afraid to wear it because it would get dirty. This guy from Saturday Night Live, Roseanne. I wonder if her show was on at this point. 86? Or if she was still just a stand-up. Because they're talking about her appearances on The Tonight Show. For some reason, this kind of looks like the Jurassic Park, but it's not, obviously. It's like Linda Evans. They always do a page for soaps and a page for sports, and I don't linger on those too much. I don't know enough about the soaps. All right, if you've seen some other videos, you know they were doing, so VHS had come into popularity, and they did top rentals, which is kind of fun. Yeah, these are similar to the ones I think we saw in another episode I already did. Murphy's Romance, that was Sally Field. Jewel of the Nile was kind of Indiana Jones ripoff, but a very fun movie series. If you haven't seen those, they're pretty fun. Enemy Mine's great. Cheers and Jeers is kind of fun. Let's see what they're jeering. They're jeering Boy George. Revelations of his heroin abuse. That's kind of weird. And they're mad at CBS for cutting away from a golf tournament. That's hilarious. I mean, I guess if you're a golf fan, that would have been pretty annoying. If you haven't seen my other videos, a lot of the fun of these is, especially in prime time, they'll have some like ads for the shows, and that's very fun. So we're doing more than just looking at the words. And of course, we focus on the fact that there were very few channels. Therefore, these popular shows like Perfect Strangers were very popular because there just wasn't a million channels. So you had a lot of people watching the same stuff. More sports. This would have been fall sports, baseball, maybe NBA, football for sure. Another video I recently did, they had these pay movies, but at some point, I guess in the late 80s, they started adding their own little 3-4 star ratings to them, which was kind of fun. So this isn't quite as fun because the TV guy's not adding their own critical rating to them, but still fun to see what was going on in the 80s. Anybody remember The Bride with Jennifer Beals? Pretty bad movie with Sting, but you know, Jennifer Beals, one of her few kind of big roles. If you're from the 80s, you know who Jennifer Beals is. It's an interesting snapshot also to show that even if you had cable and you had these pay channels, it wasn't like there was a million great movies on. You were watching Kentucky Woman or Indecent Obsession, some Australian movie. So it wasn't like you were living that high on the hog. We were watching The Little Drummer Girl that has violence in it and nudity. Silverado, who remembers that movie? Great Western. Real Genius was a great movie. Great movie for a kid my age at that time. Looks like this TV guide's out of the Michigan area. One thing that really changes is the time zone kind of throws me when we're looking at like the prime time lineups and stuff. All right, Saturday morning in the 80s was about as good as it ever got. You got Laser Tag Academy cartoon. You got Foo-Fur. You got something called Kid Bits. I have no idea what that is. Could have been a local Michigan thing. You got the Wuzzles and Kissy Fur going head to head at 8 o'clock. Which would you watch, the Wuzzles or Kissy Fur? I wouldn't watch either. I'd probably be watching Bernstein Bears. Gummy Bears was great. Muppet Babies was good. Yeah, just so much good stuff that came out of the 80s. I don't remember Galaxy High School. Probably because I was just watching something else that was on at that time and didn't even flip to that channel. Teen Wolf cartoon, Punky Brewster cartoon, Pound Puppies. Not all these are great, but they're still kind of fun. Pee-wee's Playhouse was indeed great. I don't know how I chose between that and Alvin and the Chipmunks because I love both of those. Saturday afternoon, you still got westerns and stuff, western movies and stuff, so we don't linger on that too much. Here's the prime time lineup for Saturday night. Let's see what's going on. Some show called Downtown. Again, maybe there'll be an ad. Yeah, see, that's what gives us context. So that's what's fun about these TV guides. That, again, is kind of lost to history. Mike Hammer in that 80s version of The Twilight Zone, which was solid. Facts of Life doing a full hour for some reason. Must be a special episode. Life with Lucy in the 80s. Man. I think because her husband had that production company, she was able to get shows like that made. Because, come on. Lucy was awesome in the 60s and stuff, but not in 86. Let's be honest. Spencer for Hire was a great show. If you had cable, you could watch. Oh, that's A&E. Never mind. Nobody's watching A&E. A lot of these channels on cable have changed dramatically from what they originally were. A&E used to truly be a focus on arts and entertainment. BET used to show videos and do some original shows. They had some good original shows in the 90s, like Rock. I think that was a BET original. ESPN used to not have as many sports to pick from, so they had to show some off-the-wall stuff. Anyway. All right. Here's that Downtown show. New series premiere. That's the dude from Flashdance, I think. And I don't know who the... Well, there's what's his name from LA Law. Oh, and that's Mariska Hargitay. So there we go. We've learned something new here. Mariska was on some show called Downtown with some crazy dude wearing an old football helmet. This is fun. This is fun stuff, folks. We're just having fun. Checking out our past here. Look at this great ad for Facts of Life. Yeah, this is a special 1 hour deal where Cloris Leachman joins the show. I don't think she became a regular. Oh, Miss Garrett gets married. That's why it's a 1 hour deal. This might have been one of the last seasons of Facts of Life because you can see the girls are getting a little bit older. They started off as kind of younger teens. I don't know my Facts of Life history that well. Here's that Life with Lucy thing. Come on. And Ellen Burstyn. She's a good star. Well, look at this full page ad for Golden Girls. Yeah, this show was popular when it came out, and of course has continued to be pretty timeless. One reason is because they don't make shows for old people anymore. Like, why is that? There's plenty of old people. Don't you think they want to watch something besides some stupid, violent show that they put on these days? We saw this in another TV guide. Christina Applegate in some show before Married with Children called Heart of the City. So that's her. If you thought that was her, yes, that is. And then Spencer with A Man Called Hawk. Come on, how cool is that? Dance Fever, you got the Gatlin brothers. And that's about it. Not a great episode of Dance Fever. Juice Newton's on Austin City Limits. How good is that? Remember her song, Playing with the Queen of Hearts? She had a lot of good other songs, too. Again, because this is Michigan, I'm never clear on if prime time starts at 7. It doesn't look like it, because you got things like Wheel of Fortune on. This is a great ad for Amen. That was a popular show. I never watched it. Okay, here's that Downtown show. Just confirming that that was Mariska. I don't see her name listed. Robert Englund, that dude who played Freddy or whatever. Blair Underwood was the guy from LA Law. Don't see Mariska listed there. There's the Hour Facts of Life. Check out the Mike Hammer ad. So great. Yeah, here's that 80s Twilight Zone. I think it was pretty solid. I mean, you know, people are going to compare it to the original, but I think the 80s version was pretty fun. Might have ran like a couple seasons. This is a great ad for Hunter. Yeah, they do original art, so sometimes they have photos, sometimes they do original art. Just so much that's lost in today's world. If you remember Mike Hammer, you know he always had some attractive women on the show every week. Heart of the City. Let's see, Robert. Yeah, Christina Applegate. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one to look up. I forgot to look that up before. Might be some episodes online somewhere. Check out these. Some people scared of clowns may find those pretty creepy. Hunter season opener. It's funny to think these were all first run at this time because I think of Hunter, I think it's just something that's so old it's been shown on reruns forever. Siskel and Ebert at the Movies, such a great show for, movie reviews and seeing what's going on. So they're reviewing Crocodile Dundee and The Name of the Rose. We know the movies from the 80s also stood the test of time. Unlike probably anything in the last 20 years, there's LA Laws, pretty huge show. I think it might have premiered in 86. So I don't know how popular it was out of the gate, but it definitely became very popular. Let's see what Saturday Night Live's doing. I don't see it. Is it coming on at 10:30? No. Maybe they're taking the week off because they're showing the LA Law instead. Some cartoon called Popples. Doesn't ring a bell with me. But again, that's also why we go through these, because it might be something that you all recognize that I didn't. Get Along Gang cartoon. I vaguely remember that. Ebony Jet Showcase. I kind of remember that. If you haven't seen any of my videos, another thing they would do, full roster of the Lions and the Browns here in 1986. And that was before Barry Sanders, so no reason to even look at that roster. I think the Browns were decent because they had Bernie Kosar, which is kind of hard to believe that the Browns are ever decent. All right, let's see what's going on. Yeah, see how they got regional stuff? So they got something called Detroit Black Journal. So some of these channels would be showing something that was only seen in this area, which is also somewhat fun about these TV guides. All right, Sunday evening, Murder, She Wrote. A lot of movies on Sunday night. That seems to be a trend in the mid-'80s. Easy Street and Valerie. And then, yeah, just a lot of movies coming on. You got HBO, you can watch Police Academy 2. Look at this, this is great. What are they talking about here? Gidget, all new series. Wow, I did not remember that. So obviously Gidget, Sally Field was like in the 60s maybe. So this is some 80s version. Maybe on like a syndicated channel, so maybe that's why I don't remember it. Gidget's got a handsome husband and a career and a teenage niece. That sounds like a fun premise. Make Gidget a little older, but give her a niece, which will probably basically be the new Gidget. That's coming on at 5:30. I just wondering who these actors are. That's the only reason I might look for it. Let's see. It doesn't even say, it just says the new Gidget. So we have no idea who these are without Googling. What's this guy doing? He's got a chimpanzee with him. Hero in the Family, season premiere Sunday movie. Okay, so Disney would do like Sunday movies, and I think they would make some original stuff.
So I guess his dad was an astronaut and got turned into a monkey. I mean, it's a Disney movie. It's fun, right? Or at least they used to be. Murder, She Wrote got a big ad. Beachcombers 15th season opener? What? I have no idea what that is, and I don't recognize any of those names. Yeah, check out these ads. So Easy Street was the one with Lonnie Anderson. Didn't last long, but it looked like a somewhat of a fun show. I've seen some clips on it on YouTube. And then Valerie's got a new show that, we watched this show in my household, the Valerie show. And yeah, that's about it, because Sunday night has a lot of movies. So here's one of them. Andy Griffith, Under the Influence, Sunday night movies. Interesting. Oh, look, Keanu's in it. Again, this is why we go through these, folks. We got Keanu in some movie with Andy Griffith, where his dad's like an alcoholic or something. She kind of looks familiar. I don't see their names, but maybe we'll see their names. Yeah, here we go. Keanu Reeves. That's great. Don't recognize any of the other names offhand. Buy some cassette tapes. Music cassettes, that is. Look at Donna Mills. She's swinging for the fences with this Intimate Encounters movie. She's trying to get you to tune in. She was on like Falcon Crest or one of those shows. This is a great ad. Look at that. Look at that. This is so great. All right, Sunday evening, Sunday night. We're getting into Monday morning. My Little Pony, there we go. Another 80s staple. Of course, I never watched that. I was probably watching Heathcliff, but nonetheless. Inspector Gadget, how great is that? Wish they had some of those on DVD. A lot of these are like out of print, so the Inspector Gadgets are like ridiculously priced now. Same with the Littles. Tennessee Tuxedo cartoon. I think that was an old one from like the 60s. I could be wrong. Thundercats. Come on, folks. Thundercats Ho. Great theme song. All these shows, they had good theme songs. You know, they made an effort, folks. What happened to that, huh? All the great theme songs. Sometimes a show you wouldn't even like, but it would have a great theme song. So a newer soap opera in the 80s called Santa Barbara. Who remembers that? I do. Then you got He-Man going up against She-Ra. That doesn't seem fair. For my money, I think in the end, even though He-Man is obviously what everybody knows, I think She-Ra was actually a little better quality cartoon. You can quote me on that. Little House, A New Beginning. I wonder what the deal is with that. Melissa Gilbert's still on it. Maybe that was just when the later seasons when she was kind of the showrunner. I'm not sure. That's why we go through these. Keep saying it, but it's true. All right, Monday evening. I'm seeing some good ones here. Kate and Allie, Together We Stand. Maybe we'll see an ad for that. New Heart, Designing Women, Cagney and Lacey. I mean, that's strong. But they're going against Alf in Amazing Stories, which is pretty strong too. Who remembers Amazing Stories? Very fun show. And then you got MacGyver and NFL football. Monday night's got a lot to choose from. check this out. Charm runs in the Haskell family, the new Leave It to Beaver, and that is the original Eddie Haskell guy. That's interesting. Never heard of that because I didn't have cable. Looks like Jerry Mathers came back too. Wow, that sounds slightly sad, but maybe it's fun. Who am I to judge? I never saw it. Probably find it on YouTube, the new Leave It to Beaver from the 80s. All right, so we're getting into Monday evening. A lot of these are timeless, so we know MacGyver, we know Alf, but so let's look at some of these ads. Kate Nally was pretty popular with what's her name from Saturday Night Live. Here's that Together We Stand. Don't think I recognize her. I know that guy. He's that guy. Alf, presenting week 2 of Alf on Earth. How great is that? Great cast. That's what these shows had. Every person on the show, somewhat charming, someone you could relate to. Wasn't a bunch of unlikable people like they have on TV now. Check out James Garner. All right, are we into prime time? Yeah, Kate Nally, MacGyver, Alf. Pretty strong at 8 o'clock. Yeah, here's the Amazing Stories. Such a great show. It kind of been completely lost to time. I don't know why that is, because it was a fun show. And Spielberg produced it, like supernatural type stuff, adventure. I think it kind of appealed to a younger audience. Don't know why it's been like completely erased pretty much. Who knows? Here's that Together We Stand. Oh, Elliot Gould. That's like, oh, Dee Wallace. Okay, so that's who the female was. The mom from E.T. It's like some kind of movie here with a guy from Hill Street. They did like to tackle like some serious topics back in the 80s. Seemed like they were really going for a lot of serious topics a lot of the times. Designing Women, very popular show. Annie Potts, Delta Burke. The other two ladies were great as well. Let's see what Amazing Stories is doing. Ancient Chinese spell enables a 10-year-old to give a magic Saturday to his ailing grandfather. Yeah, see, it would be like a supernatural type spin. Almost like Twilight Zone, but not quite, because it's a little more lighthearted. Cagney Lacey, how great is that? Palace of Dreams. Who knows? We weren't flipping all these channels back then. And some of them we probably didn't even get. Depending on where you lived, your reception may not be great. Like Letterman's got Raquel Welch coming on at 1 a.m. All right, we've kind of already seen the weekday morning stuff. My Little Pony and Friends. And again, even if you didn't watch these, I bet it's got a great theme song. So this will be Tuesday night in '86. The Wizard. We watched that some in my household. Matlock. Crime Story was great. I think they eventually moved that to Friday, so we'll have to maybe try to see that. 1986, I don't remember that show. Who's the Boss? Growing Pains. Moonlighting. How great is that? Growing Pains was a great show for the first few years. Jack and Mike. I think I saw that in another TV guide. I've already forgotten what it was. All right, we'll see some ads. We'll give us some more context. There's a guy with his monkey, dad monkey. Check out this Matlock ad. Matlock defends a stripper. Again, you know,
a show that older people might enjoy. So why, why not? What's the crime of making some shows like that? Yeah, look at this. Great ads. Who's the Boss? I think everybody loved that show. Growing Pains was definitely something we watched. Again, a great cast. His sister, Tracy Gold. Mike was the coolest kid around. Because Alex Keaton was somewhat nerdy, but Mike was like super cool. All right. Yeah, there's that Wizard show. I definitely watched that a few times. Guess this is some Sunday night or Tuesday night movie or something. Agatha Christie movie. Emma Samms, though, there's a reason to tune in right there. Tony Curtis when he's older. I mean, they're trying. They're putting some good stars in there. If nothing else on, you flip this on, you watch Emma Samms. Yeah, Moonlighting was great. Great theme song. Go look up the theme song if you forgot about it. Just checking the guest stars, because sometimes these shows do have some fun guest stars that people that went on to become like stars in their own right. Yeah, there's a crime story show. I wish they'd show who else was in it, because it had 3 or 4 like good actors in it. It wasn't just Dennis Farina. Yeah, we definitely watched that in my household. So on Who's the Boss, Tony tries to lift Angela's spirits in the wake of her firing. It'll all be wrapped up in a half hour, so it's nothing too serious. Yeah, Kirk Cameron, he was super cool. If you were a little younger than him and looking up to the cool kids. There's another after-school special with Madeline Kahn. Looks like her son's trying to get her a man. All right, let's see. I thought there was something I was going to look for, but I already forgot. Yeah, Dennis Farina. The guy who played the villain was definitely good as well. We know his face if we saw it, but again, they just don't show him in the ads for some reason. Here's a 1986 show. Looks like it's some serious like talk show trying to tackle current events or something. So that's super boring. Jack and Mike, Tom Mason, Shelley Hack. Oh yeah, I think one of either Jack or Mike was a female. Maybe Jack was Jackie or something. So we saw an ad for that in like another one I went through. Matt Houston was great. Lee Horsley. Some show called King Leonardo. Cartoon called King Leonardo. Challenge of the GoBots. Come on, folks. Come on. If you know, you know. Transformers ripoff, but still fun and good. I got the Transformers toys, but I definitely watched the GoBots cartoon as well as Transformers. So Wednesday night we got Together We Stand, Better Days, and a 2-hour Magnum. Bet there'll be some ads for that Magnum. Highway to Heaven, Give Me a Break, St. Elsewhere. Lots of good shows. Something for everybody. Perfect Stranger, Head of the Class. We watched Head of the Class in my household, and we watched Dynasty. So that would be Wednesday night in '86. It's like during the day there's some show called Matt and Jenny, which is an adventure show. Yeah, here we go. Here's some ads. Highway to Heaven, such a good show. I didn't watch it, but I've come to appreciate it. Michael Landon. Yeah, here's the Together We Stand with Dee Wallace. Oh, okay, I got some kids on there. That might have been fun, I just might not have caught on. I think that's the kid from Indiana Jones. A lot of these shows weren't necessarily terrible. It's just so much competition, man. If you didn't get the ratings, they would just cancel you. Here's that Better Days. Now that doesn't look too good. I mean, come on. What are they doing there? Well, it might be good. Kid in a Tough Neighborhood. Actually, that premise sounds interesting. Yeah, there's Perfect Strangers, Head of the Class. It'd be hard to top that at that time. Again, such a great cast on this show, if you don't remember. Almost every kid had his own personality and was interesting. I remember the little girl. I think she was like younger than the rest, but she was like super smart or something. And of course, you got Johnny Fever as the teacher. Everybody remembers Johnny Fever, right? Here's that 2 hour. Okay, season premiere, so that's why it's 2 hours. Man, they were pushing the sex appeal on him, weren't they? Give Me a Break with Joey. Great dynamic between those two. I never watched it, but I saw a couple episodes. There's our girl from Greatest American Hero, Connie Selica. We all know her. We all love her. Don't say you didn't. Okay, what is this? It's You Again with my guy Klugman. Oh, there's John Stamos. See, again, that's why we go through these, folks. We got John Stamos before, what's that show? Hanging out with the dude from The Odd Couple. That's funny. And again, it could have been a decent show. It was just so competitive. There's St. Elsewhere. Guess people like that show for some reason. Kind of like the ER show, Snorefest stuff. Who's coming on? Who's coming on Letterman tonight? Anybody? Don Herbert. Oh, the guy from Mr. Wizard. If you don't know how they do it on these talk shows, they still do it this way, but they did it forever. A lot of times they bring on, if the show was on NBC, they'd bring on that person onto Letterman or Carson because that was also on NBC. So it was kind of like some circular advertising going on, and you probably didn't even realize it. These are the tricks they play on us, folks. Gotta see through them. Magnum's he's still on, but he's also in syndication at this point. Yeah, I'm curious about this Little House New Beginning. I won't remember to look it up, though. All right, Thursday night. Okay. We know Thursday NBC was crushing the game, but let's see what else was on. Simon & Simon was a fun show. Kay O'Brien. Maybe there'll be an ad for that. Cosby, Family Ties, Cheers, Night Court, Hill Street. Close the book. I mean, lights out right there. How can you compete? You can just hope to come in second. And some show called Our World. I guess. No, I don't know. Just trying to see what the third thing would be. And nothing's jumping out here. I guess it would be the Colbys in Our World. Man, they aren't even trying. Can't blame them, though. Some cartoon called Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. Cartoon, I don't know what that would be. Here's your local people from Michigan. This mustache guy's bringing you the news. Simon & Simon, fun show. Great dynamic between the two stars. Yeah, I mean, they don't even need to advertise. Everybody's watching these shows. Alex is broken up and his family is cracking up. Here's that Colby's show. Looks like a nighttime soap kind of deal.
There's that Kay O'Brien show. New series. I mean, you're tuning in for Donna Mills, aren't you? Look, what a great cast. I recently saw an episode of My Two Dads that Bull was like guest starring on. Man, I forgot how great he was. His little one-liners and stuff. Such an entertaining dude. And everybody on there was great. Super sad when they try to bring these back like 30 years later. God. Oh well. Look at this great ad for Hill Street. Some original art. Kind of looks like that Aha video. The same kind of art style. Hill Street to me was like an early 80s thing, but yeah, a lot of these shows lasted longer than we remember. But again, these ads really bring some of this stuff to life. All right, let's see what's going on Friday nights in '86. I'm sure we got Miami Vice. It's probably all we care about. Yeah, Scarecrow, Mrs. King, Dallas, and Falcon Crest. I mean, I guess if you were into the nighttime soaps, there was a lot to choose from in the 80s. But we'd be watching A-Team, Miami Vice, LA Law, 3 great hours. 3 great hours. And then you also got Webster and Mr. Belvedere. At that time, honestly, we might have been watching Webster and Mr. Belvedere and then flipping to Miami Vice. Sledgehammer was a great, fun show. Yeah, Friday's a pretty good night for TV in the 80s. I mean, all 3 of those lineups are strong. Check it out for this A-Team ad. They're in their dress blues or dress greens. I killed Colonel Morrison. All right, I got to tell the A-Team show story now. If you're familiar with the A-Team, you may not realize, I didn't realize till just recently, the 5th season, they jumped the shark like crazy. So, if you know the premise of the A-Team, these guys are like former soldiers who like escaped a military prison and they help people out. So the whole premise of the show was they were kind of mercenaries, and this Colonel Decker dude from the army was always trying to catch them, and he never did. In the 5th season, they must have got a call from like the military industrial complex, because all of a sudden the 5th season, they're working for the military. They brought this 5th dude on there. So there's like a 5th team member. In every episode, they like take their orders from the army and they go do some army mission. And they did some contrived plot where it's like, oh, they're doing this to stay out of jail. But it's like, okay, I guess the Pentagon got mad because these guys would outsmart the army every week. So the 5th season is just a joke. It like kind of defeats the whole purpose of the A-Team. Like they're not working for the army. They're like escaped mercenaries who are doing their own thing and helping people. So 5th season A-Team, jumped the shark, dumbest thing ever. Luckily most of us had already tuned out by then, so we don't remember that. Yeah, Webster was a great family show. Sledgehammer was super fun, if you remember that. I did watch Sidekicks a few times. I never watched Starman, but great movie that it was based on. Possibly John Carpenter's best movie, in my opinion. Don't get mad at me for saying that if you're a Escape from New York guy. Yeah, the lady from Charlie's Angels. Look at this Miami Vice ad. How great is this? That's that weird guy who's like a war criminal or something. He became an actor. But yeah, Miami Vice, so good. Yeah, G. Gordon Liddy. Miami Vice always had some crazy guest stars too, so maybe we'll try to spot and see if they had any on this week. Let's see, that'd be 9 o'clock. Nobody that jumps out. Yeah, LA Law was big. Susan Day, Harry Hamlin. I mean, everybody on there became a star because of that show. I guess in hindsight, maybe it was a little bit
like tongue-in-cheek type of show, but as a kid, I always thought it was pretty serious. All right, let's take a quick look and see if Friday Night Videos is coming on. Yes. Talked about this in another episode, so I won't go too deep into it, but this was all you had if you didn't have MTV, if you didn't have cable. You had to stay up till 12:30, and it didn't go off till 2, so I would fall asleep. But I mean, this is music videos were as big as it got back then. So we got Alf as a host. We got Cyndi Lauper, the Human League, Tina Turner, Billy Ocean, Janet Jackson. Come on. I do everything I could to try to stay awake, but I usually fall asleep after the first video or so. But that was such an important show for the 80s, in my opinion, as a non-cable person. It's a pretty cool statue. Look at Geraldo, his mustache. Jo Beth Williams, great actress. It's kind of a shame they made every actress wear the ridiculous hairspray in the 80s. But it is what it is. Alright, not as many cigarette ads now, which is kind of sad because it was always a fun part of these videos, but here we got another cigarette ad. We got some TV jibes. Sanka, who remembers Sanka? I think it was like non-caffeinated or something. All right, this has been fun. 1986. See you all in the next time around.